dreaded day has come. I bought this Africa Twin with 38,000 kilometres on it, and the previous owner had not done the valve clearances. I've now done another 5,000 k on the bike, so I think it's time I dived right in and checked those clearances. It's only taken me about 10 minutes to get this far, taking the side panels, crash bars off. So the next process is to do the tank, etc. Now this is not a how-to video. If you want to see a really good video on how to do the valves, I've left a link in the description.
As I said, this isn't a how-to video, but it'll be interesting to find out whether the valve clearances do need attention. There's a rumour going around that you can just ignore them, but if they do close up, the first time that you'll know there's a problem is when you'll have to pull the engine out and redo the valve seats. So I really don't want to have to go there. As with any first time doing a job, there's always a worry as to whether I'm going to break something, but I'm just too tight to take it to the bike shop. Rumour has it that in Oz it might cost around $900 to get the valves checked. Expensive. And I can see why. It's very time consuming. Removing the spark plug cap so I could get this mess out was a real challenge. In fact, it was the hardest part of the whole project. The bike's not real dirty, but it always pays to make sure there's no loose dirt lying around. I don't really want to have dirt falling into the engine when I take the tappet cover off. It may not be necessary to remove the throttle bodies. I probably could work around it, but they're easy to remove. I'm not going to pull everything apart, I'll just let them sit. And I'll plug both sides with some clean rag. And some more clean rag in the engine intakes. I'm finally at the point where I can take the cam cover off, and wow, is it a tight fit. There was quite a bit of grunting going on to get it out. It really hasn't been designed for ease of maintenance. But it's not the only bike like this. Most modern Japanese bikes have this failure. It's finally out without breaking anything. Well, that's a bonus. And here's the lovely looking camshaft. It's a single cam and it's got shims on the intake and screw and lock nut on the exhaust. I'm hoping that I don't have to replace any shims, because that'll mean taking the cam out, and that's another whole procedure on its own. Anyway, let's give this a try. That one is spot on. This one, just under, but still in spec. It's a 4-valve head, so there's 2 intakes and 2 exhaust. Let's check the exhaust side of number 1 cylinder. And these ones are both perfect. Excellent. I was expecting those to be a little bit out, but that's fine. I haven't shown it, but number 2 cylinder are all in spec as well. Given this job had been neglected for 43,000 kilometres, I wasn't at all hopeful, but I'm so relieved that everything's in spec. So now all that remains is to put everything back together again. Fortunately, all the hundreds of electrical connectors are all unique, so it's a bit hard to go wrong, although I had to make sure that I didn't miss any of them. And I found that it was just as difficult to put everything back together as it was to pull it apart. Surprise, surprise. Oh, by the way, I did check the air filters while I was at it, and they're all fine. I might replace them at 50,000. What's been your experience with valve adjustment? I'd love you to leave a comment and let me know. Should we just ignore them and hope for the best, or go through the pain of checking? Everything is connected back, and being the ultimate pessimist, I'm going to see if the bike runs before I put all the other bits on. I started this job at 7 AM and finished at 12, so that's a 5-hour round trip. But it was well worth it for the peace of mind. But I've got to admit there were a few bad words said during this process, so it's time to wash my hands because, as everyone knows, clean hands, clean mind, and I certainly need my mind cleaning. Thanks for watching, and I'd really like to know your experience with valve clearance checks.